Peter Mello from Sea Fever Consulting, and I'm the founder and editor of the Weekly Leader blog and podcast. And you might know my usual podcasting partner is Pam Fox-Rollin from Idea Shape, but she's off this week. So when she goes away, we play a little bit of an experiment this week with a vidcast, as you can see. Last week on the podcast, we talked about our iPhone app, and here's an iPhone. And so I thought this is a good opportunity to do a short little podcast, vidcast about the iPhone app and walk you through it and all of its features. We only had one vidcast previously, and it was really not like this. It was a presentation done by Mario Vittoni, and I highly encourage you to check it out. We'll have a link to it in the show notes, but Mario did a great job with that, and it was extremely popular, so we hope you enjoy this one too. Before we go to the iPhone app, we wanted to listen to our colleague, Wally Bach, over at the 3-Star Leadership blog, as he talks to us about the best of the independent business blogs on the topic of leadership this week.
Hi, this is Wally Bach. I'm here to point you to this week's top leadership posts from the independent business blogs. We'll start with a post from my old friend Art Petty. He zeroes in on the problems so many managers have with talking to team members about subpar performance. Art's got some great advice about how to deal with the issue. Another reason to check out the post is that Art's announcing a new online training product designed to help you do a better job of giving negative feedback. Everybody thinks goals are a good thing, and almost everybody seems to use some version of the SMART acronym to guide goal setting. Not so fast, my friend. David Burkus thinks he has a better idea in his Leader Lab post, The Champagne Test. A lot of leadership involves balancing two different objectives. Accomplish the mission, but care for your people. Produce short-term profits, but don't neglect the long-term profitability of the company. Terry Starbucker's got another pair for you to consider in The Fine Line Between Hubris and Humility. At HR Toolbox, Tony Simons and Liz Guthridge combine to give you some expert advice on credibility in leadership. My final pick for the week is from Dorothy Dalton. In a post titled, She's Too Sexy for the Job, Dorothy uses a firing at Citigroup as the starting point for a discussion of how men and women are treated differently when it comes to their appearance. That's not all. There's a bonus this week, too. I've included a link to the Now Leadership Carnival. This new carnival highlights blog posts about how effective 21st century leadership combines strengths of both men and women. Every week I've got a question of the week, and this week it's sparked by the new carnival. What different strengths do men and women generally bring to work? Thanks for listening. You can find more of my pointers and commentary on the 3-Star Leadership blog. It's at http://blog.3starleadership, all spelled out like one word.com. My latest book, Ruthless Focus, is out. You can buy it on Amazon or read about it on my blog. I'm also on Twitter, and I'll see you here next week.
We are really excited about our new Weekly Leader podcast iPhone app, and we hope you will be too. You can find it in the iTunes store. It's $1.99 to download it. We think it's a pretty good value to extend your leadership learning, and if you enjoy what we're doing here with the show, it's a small way where you could show your support, and we would really appreciate it. So here we are. This is you're probably familiar if you have an iPhone. There's our icon, Weekly Leader, with our logo and our tagline, Listen, Learn, and Lead. So we're going to touch on it here. It brings up a splash page with a picture of Pam and me. Again, our tagline, Listen, Learn, and Lead. And it brings us up to the last few episodes. Now, I was just listening to the Bob Sutton episode, so what happened here is it knew that when I paused it last, this is where I was. And it asked me right there, playback was interrupted last time. Would you like to resume where you left off? You can resume playback or you can cancel it. That's pretty handy, so we're just going to cancel it to give you an idea of how the rest of the program works. It actually brings up, when you do that, the last episode, but I just want to go to the list of all of the episodes. So here's the last 10 episodes. Lindsay Levin from Leaders Quest is the last episode. Pam did a fantastic interview with her. And there's the last 10 episodes, and at the bottom you can download the 50 prior episodes. So there's a lot. You can all of our episodes are really here. At the top you could search within the show notes for a specific episode. So if there's something we discussed, hopefully if it's been tagged or if it's in the show notes, it'll bring up the episode. So we'll go back to Bob Sutton, one of my favorites. You can see there's a little thumbnail album art of his book, Good Boss, Bad Boss. He's a professor at Stanford, and I really enjoyed my time I spent with him a couple episodes ago. Down below you can see these are the show notes, and they sometimes are formatted slightly different, but they really come from the website, so all the information there appears right there below the icon. One big button, push to play. You can see it's buffering the podcast right now, and it's going to bring us back right to the point where I left off last. Actually, it's just starting from the beginning. And you can see there's a little button up top there, and it is a rewind button in 30-second intervals. So if Pam or I said something and you wanted a little bit more clarification, you weren't exactly sure what we said, you can easily rewind 30-second intervals. Pretty handy. If you get a phone call, it'll pause it exactly where you were, and then when the phone call is ended, it'll bring you back and it'll automatically play it. Likewise, if you pause it because you're halfway through your commute, you've listened to half the podcast, when you go home, it'll bring you right back to the spot you were at last. So, actually, let's go back here. Up the top right-hand corner is a little button called Extras, and it'll bring up all the episode extras. You can download the wallpaper, although I'm not sure that there's going to be a big demand for that, but go for it if that's what floats your boat. You can visit the website, the Weekly Leader website, from right within the podcast app. And to me, the most useful feature on the app itself is the episode links button. You can click on an episode links button and it'll bring up all of the links that appear in the show notes, which is pretty handy. So if you're driving down the road, you don't have to worry about remembering something that we said. For instance, we talked about Bob Sutton's blog, one of our favorites, Work Matters. We click on that and it should bring up Bob Sutton's blog right within the iPhone app itself, the Weekly Leader app, and there it is, Bob Sutton's blog. Now, if we wanted to pop it out and put it in Safari because we wanted to bookmark it for ourselves, you can easily do that. That would make you leave the app. So we're not going to do that. We're going to cancel. We're going to go back. And then the other thing you can do is tell a friend about this particular episode, so it'll bring up your email program. Likewise, there are extras for the show itself. You can view it in iTunes, you can visit the website, and you can tell a friend about the overall show. So those extras are a pretty handy way to stay connected and in contact, especially email us. We're always looking for comments, so feel free to comment or give us your feedback about the podcast in general by using the app. We'd love to hear from you there. And we do create another way for you to do that. You can email us right down the bottom. You can see this contact button. You can email the show, again, right from the iPhone. You can visit our website where you could comment on a post if you wanted to. You can follow the Weekly Leader Twitter feed right there through the app. And finally, you can visit our Facebook page where we hope you already like us. And that's a pretty handy way to stay in contact. Finally, on the right-hand side, if there was an episode that you were listening to that you might want to think about coming back to in the future, you can star it. And I don't have any episodes starred right now, but it's a handy way to kind of keep it filed away for future reference. So again, it's our Weekly Leader iPhone app. It's $1.99 in the iTunes store. We really appreciate your support of the show, and we hope you download it and give us your feedback about it. Thanks. Well, that's our podcast. Thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed it. We look forward to getting your feedback, and most of all, we look forward to being with you again next week. We realize how valuable your time is, and we thank you so much for investing it with us. Okay.